Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, in 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, this is David with Second Amendment Shooters.
And I'm Michael. How are you all doing? David, what are we looking at today?
Well, we are doing our first gun review on this channel, and we're going to be reviewing the Swiss K31, chambered in 7.5.55 Swiss.
Right. So, well, it's your rifle. You might as well tell us what it's about.
Okay. Well, it was originally designed, the first troop trials were in 1931, hence the name model of K31. One of the most interesting features about it is instead of having 5 rounds, you have 6, and instead of having a straight regular bolt action, you have a removable magazine, much like a Lee Enfield. And instead of a standard like Mosin Nagant, where it's straight up, back, forward, and down, this is just straight back and straight forward.
Let's just see how much different work it is. This is my personal 1925 Mosin Nagant 9130. All right, what we're going to do here, we're going to see how long it takes us to cycle the action. Both of the actions on these are very crisp, might I add. All right, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that's pretty close, but I'm fast. All right, 3, 2, 1. See, now the biggest advantage of that is it's one very fluid motion. You don't have to go up and back and forward and down. That is the major difference with those. That's why actually I kind of like that.
And it actually features a working safety.
Does it now? Unlike a frickin' Mosin, which is kind of just the only safety you have, as one of my favorite gun channels would say, is in between your ears.
Yeah, one of the only rifles of the era to actually feature safety. And the way that this safety works, is
Okay, I'll hold it.
the back of the bolt, this is your firing pin.
Right.
So all you have to do to engage the safety is pull the firing pin out, like you're turning a key, turn it to the left, it'll lock into place, and the bolt is locked, and it will not fire. So in case you're carrying it backpacking in the mountains, it will not go off.
Now, of course, this isn't the first gun to ever feature a safety. I believe the first one was the Mauser.
Yeah, one of the first Mausers.
And the safety was actually an incredible innovation for its day. The fact that you had this option of, making the gun safe to handle, move, and even drop if need be, if that were to happen. Of course, we don't drop our guns regularly, do we?
No.
Well, some people in this state do.
Yeah.
Because apparently if they don't pass, they're not safe.
And as simple as it is to engage, it is simple to disengage. Pull back, down, and you're ready to fire.
Right. So you said 7.5 by 55?
And the best thing about it, even though the standard ammo, the surplus ammo, can be rather expensive to shoot, it's considered by today's standard to be match grade ammo. And the benefit of that is you can reload it if you convert it to boxer primed. And instead of being steel case, it is brass case.
And also another major innovation is a non-corrosive primer, which basically, if you know anything about shooting surplus Mosin ammo, is like firing black powder down your rifle. Maybe not as bad, but still going to cause some serious damage if you don't clean the darn thing as soon as you're done with it.
And the reason why a lot of the ammo of the time period was corrosive was because non-corrosive primers would not go off in sub-zero temperatures.
Which would be a problem, especially in, say, Russia.
Yeah, it would be a problem in, say, Russia.
Now, I happen to have a round of 7.62 by 54R, which is, by many people know, is the round that goes into a Mosin Nagant. Now let's just look at these two very closely. Okay. Not too much on the size, much of a difference on the size of the bullet, but definitely on the size of the casing. Looks like does the Swiss hold more powder, or is just because it's maybe narrower?
It's a little bit narrower.
Ah, okay.
So it has a little bit of a higher pressure, and it's more of a distance round, because the round, what they call this GP11 or Gewehr Patron 11. And this is one of the rounds that, even though it's surplus, it'll stay supersonic up to right about 800 yards or so.
Ow! Right. And And actually, I have to say, one of my favorite little innovations of this rifle is, unlike your standard bolt-action rifle, where you basically have two options on loading it. Either you freehand every round into the chamber, or into the magazine, or you use a stripper clip, kind of like this little slab of metal, that you sit all these rounds in and then slide it into the rifle. You actually can load this thing either free-handed or by these weird little stripper clips that actually hold 6 and are made of cardboard?
Cardboard, wax paper with metal feed lips.
Basically made these things as cheap as possible. Anyway, and that sits kind of like that onto the rifle, and you just push the rounds down. Now, obviously, we're not going to load the rifle here because...
for obvious safety reasons.
And our neighbors might get mad at us.
Yeah.
Right. Or, my particular favorite way to do it is to remove the whole mag itself and just simply drop the round onto there. Okay? And then just, obviously, just load it like any modern day rifle.
Satisfying click to it, too.
That is satisfying. And then...
Of course, you hold like this and assume it's loaded. Forward, ready to go.
Alright. Now, unfortunately, if you're expecting the big boom, you clearly didn't notice things. You're also not paying attention. Listen up. Alright. So we've actually fired this, and...
Which the video will be at the end. Will be at the end.
Why don't we just integrate it?
Okay.
Alright, ready? Watch, I have magic. So that's us firing it. As you can see, very good design, and I actually do enjoy the way it looks. I'm not a huge fan of the sights, to be honest. Which is kind of
I kind of like the sights. It kind of reminds me of another rifle I own, which we'll be doing a review on in some of the upcoming videos. It's the Mosin Nagant Model 2830 from the Finnish Civil Guard.
And it's not that I hate the sights on it. I just feel I like it when the sights are maybe just that little bit raised up, kind of like on a 9130 or a Mauser. It's just something a little bit easy to see. Also, I do prefer a full sight hood on the over the front side. Personal preference there.
Which doesn't give you, it doesn't hurt the sight picture.
Which actually I think it improves the sight picture. But that's the wonderful thing between me and him, is that we kind of have some weird stark opinions on certain rifles.
And the only problem is a lot of the surplus is dried up at the moment, which if you can find surplus anywhere from 50 to 70 cents per round, and it comes in these little boxes, which mine's dated April 3rd, 1982. And you notice that it's in, if you can make that out at all, it's in 3 different languages. It's in German, it's in Italian, and it's in Portuguese.
Portuguese?
Portuguese or Spanish.
Why don't they use the universal language called English?
Well, there's 3 different provinces inside Switzerland that all speak different languages, which is why, if I could have found my cleaning kit, there's a tin of grease called Waffenfett, which is actually banned. It's not actually banned from the U.S., it's just not really highly smiled upon because there's rumors that it might be made out of whale oil, which
that's kind of illegal in this country.
I wouldn't say it's illegal, it's just not sold here in massive quantities.
Alright.
And the thing is about these is you don't actually oil the rifle because the parts move back and forth, you actually have to grease them. So say it's like an M1 Garand. So you grease up the lugs inside the bolt. Inside the receiver, you grease up the bolt itself, which makes it so when you're working it, you can work it fast. And the one thing I like about this is if you hold it at a certain length, you can actually work it from the shoulder. And since the magazine's out, it's not going to lock up. So, say you're firing, you're empty, back to work.
I should explain that if you tend to hold your face a little bit closer to the rifle, like me, you do run the risk of punching yourself in the face with a bolt,
or getting hot brass in your face. I've done both.
That sounds like fun. I think I actually did get hit in the face.
both of us did in the video that was posted earlier. But the one thing I like about these, apart from having the removable magazine, is having a nice walnut stock, which it's been around. It's had its fair share of dings.
Alright, so let's look at this bolt assembly real quick.
Which, if you're not familiar how it comes out, you pull the magazine up first, pull straight down, and it comes straight out.
Alright.
Which, if you're familiar with these rifles, there's the Schmidt-Rubin 1889/11, which has a bolt body that narrows out and extends to about here, I want to say. Then they have the K11, which is a slightly longer and is the older model of this. And they ultimately settled on the Swiss K31.
Which is a beautiful design.
Mm-hmm. Which they narrowed the bolt and made it easier to work, and it's less brittle from older designs. The one thing that I've noticed about these is if you can tend to get one with the walnut stock, get one. I believe they stopped doing that in 1946 when they switched over to beech, and if you're not really sure how to tell, I'm not sure how good it'll come out in the video, but the walnut will have a straighter wood grain when the beech tends to have more of a swirl to the wood grain. Not that there's really any difference in having the wood, it's just more sought after with certain collectors.
It's basically, that's the one thing I always loved about firearms. Whatever you want, there's something out there for you.
Oh, of course. My favorite thing is you can have your chocolate and you can enjoy your rifle with a nice Swiss crest on it. So if you have your Swiss Army knife, you have your Swiss rifle, and you have your Swiss chocolate. It doesn't get much
Swiss
better
cheese.
than that. And Swiss cheese.
Don't forget Swiss cheese. That's
Well,
good.
The Swiss cheese that you eat or the Swiss cheese you make with this?
Well, take your pick.
And the best thing about this, since the rifles never shot a day of corrosive ammo in their life, most of the rifle bores never saw corrosive ammo, which means you're not going to see pitting, you're not going to see frosting, you're not going to see any damage to the wood grain. Then what I recommend doing for long-term storage, with or without if you have it in a safe or outside of a safe, which some people don't recommend it in storage cases, which I've done in the past. And the way that I've combated rust is that these have been heavily oiled, as well as having silica packets to keep out the moisture, which...
What, silica? You mean the ones that you get in beef jerky?
Yeah, the ones you get in beef jerky. My safe is filled with them.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have like, what, 100 of those little bastards just running around?
If not more.
Sorry, I will.
Yeah.
If there are any kids watching and you're wondering what that word means, don't say it. Let your parents say it, because they will make you tell you where they.
Just go back in time and cover your ears.
There you go. That works. Use our magic. Is there anybody you want to answer this?
Well, that if you can afford one, which right now that you're going for anywhere from $275 for a beater to $400, maybe a little bit more for a really nice one, to go for it. Even though that they're not. I mean, I heard that I don't know if this is true or not, but if this was made today, this would be a $2,000 rifle just because of the craftsmanship that was behind it.
So what you're saying, we can get a $2,000 gun for, say, average $300.
$300.
I can live with that. So what would you give this rifle out of a 10?
Well, for accuracy, I'd give it, for a surplus rifle, I'd give it a 10.
Okay, and out of a general gun, your liking for it?
Probably 9.5.
I'd give it about a 9, I think. So that's together about 18 and a half.
Alright, well, we want to thank you for watching our videos. There'll be more to come, as well as shooting videos, gun reviews, and possibly more. This is David signing off from the Second Amendment Shooters.
See, true Russian.
True Russian holds from shoulder. Does not matter about shoulder dislocate.
But sir, I've been doing this for 2 days straight.
Men do not complain. Men work.